What if the savings account you've been building your whole life isn't a safety net at all, but like an actual cage?
Right, yeah. A cage.
I mean, think about your 401k, your mortgage, your career track. We spend our entire adult lives weaving this net as tightly as we possibly can, right? Convinced it's the only thing that will catch us when we fall.
Exactly, yeah. We're terrified of falling.
Right. But today, we are looking at a deeply controversial, really uncompromising text from 2018. It's by an author named Su Feng, and it's titled, "Only Those Who Burn Bridges Behind Them Have Hope to Open the Gate to Heaven."
It is an intense read.
Oh, it really is. And for you listening right now, consider this a fair warning. This deep dive is going to challenge basically everything you've been taught about success, stability, and, what it actually means to live a good life.
Yeah, the author essentially argues that the only way to realize your ultimate human potential is to take a match and burn your life's safety net totally to the ground.
It's wild. Okay, let's unpack this, because to understand why Sui Feng insists we need to set fire to our own lives, we first have to understand the specific architecture of the prison he thinks we're trapped in.
Well, the author's definition of that prison is incredibly stark. The text describes the entire world like the physical realm where you, me, and everyone else dwells as a program.
Like a computer program.
Exactly. And its singular coded function is just human survival. It is fundamentally designed to keep you surviving and reproducing within its preset parameters.
So it just wants you to stay in the loop.
Right, and if you want to reach what the author calls heaven, which is defined here as the boundless space of gods, Buddhas, and celestial beings, you absolutely must break out of this program.
Right, there's no halfway.
No, there is no dual citizenship allowed. You can't maintain a comfortable status in the world survival program and simultaneously enter the heavenly space.
And walking out the exit door isn't just, a matter of deciding to leave. The author details that this survival program contains these 36 mazes or bagua arrays that tightly bind people.
Yeah, and we should probably clarify that term.
Right, yeah. A bagua array refers to ancient Chinese metaphysical concepts. It's essentially an 8-sided diagram representing the fundamental energies of reality, but Shufeng uses it to describe something much more insidious.
Yeah, these aren't physical walls.
Exactly. They are invisible energy traps built by our own earthly desires and attachments.
They are structural labyrinths of the mind and society, so things like family obligations, career ambitions, societal expectations.
The things we think are good.
Right. Those are the walls of the 36 mazes, and escaping them is not framed as some peaceful meditation retreat. The text describes the process of breaking these bonds as agonizing.
It's brutal. It compares the difficulty to cutting one's own skin, prying open the flesh, breaking the heart.
During a literal rebirth from the ashes. It is a violent detachment from the human experience.
Which sounds a lot like we're NPCs, right? Non-playable characters.
Oh, that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah, like we're stuck in a video game simulation, just completely oblivious to the fact that our struggles are just part of the code. But, this is where I have to push back.
Okay, go ahead.
The text explicitly argues that using human thinking to plan your escape just keeps you spinning round and round in these 36 mazes. The author calls it the cave of silken web.
Yes.
But if human thinking, like our logic, our rationality, is the very thing keeping us trapped, how are we supposed to even conceive of a way out? I mean, aren't we using human thinking just by reading this text and trying to understand it?
What's fascinating here is that the cave of silken web is a brilliant metaphor for this exact paradox. Picture a bug caught in a spider's web. What does instinct tell the bug to do?
Struggle, fight.
Exactly. Use every natural survival tactic it possesses.
What?
But the more it uses those innate tools, the tighter the silk wraps around it.
Oh, wow.
The author is taking an uncompromising stance that you simply cannot use the tools of the simulation to break the simulation. Human logic and rational planning are features of the program, designed to keep you navigating the maze safely.
Not to help you jump over the walls.
Precisely.
But wait, even a bug in a web is using its instinct. If we abandon logic and human thinking entirely, aren't we just paralyzed? Like, how is doing absolutely nothing, making no plans at all, going to magically transport us to a divine realm? Doesn't doing nothing just ensure the spider eats us anyway?
But abandoning human logic doesn't mean doing nothing. It means abandoning rational survival planning. The text argues that what you call paralysis is actually just the terror of not having a safety net. You are still trying to map out a safe route out of the maze. The author's point is that there is no safe route. Any plan that includes a backup option, or a contingency fund, is a plan created by the simulation.
Because it's based on survival.
Right. To truly escape, you have to induce a state of absolute, unmitigated vulnerability.
Wow. Okay, but if the simulation is that agonizing to escape and demands that level of vulnerability, it makes you wonder why we don't even try.
Yeah, why do we stay?
Right. What exactly is keeping us so sedated that we willingly stay in the cave of the silken web?
Well, according to the text, it boils down to our deepest biological desires, the comfort of the cage.
The text observes that humans are naturally inert. It is our fundamental biological nature to pursue ease.
We want the couch.
We crave the stable income, the climate-controlled environment, the predictable routine. But the highly provocative claim here is that once you secure those things, creating a new reality or reaching the divine becomes nearly impossible.
Because comfort acts as an anesthetic.
Yes, exactly.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because this completely upends everything modern psychology teaches us about potential. I mean, think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Oh, sure.
We're taught you need the base of the pyramid solidly built first, right? Food, shelter, basic physical security.
The foundation. Exactly. The prevailing wisdom is that only after you know you have dinner tomorrow and a roof over your head can you climb up to the top of the pyramid to self-actualize and be truly creative.
But swooping is essentially flipping that pyramid upside down.
Totally upside down. He is arguing that securing the bottom tier is the exact mechanism that traps you from ever reaching the top. The text states that human potential is maximized only when there is no retreat.
Specifically when tomorrow's food and shelter are still unavailable.
Which is terrifying for most people.
It is, and the psychology behind this inversion is fascinating. The text asserts that our attachment to comfort actually breeds a specific kind of anxiety, sorrow, and fear.
Like an anxiety about losing it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
When you accumulate resources, your primary psychological drive shifts to protecting those resources. You become terrified of losing what you have.
So you stop taking risks.
Right. The author identifies this as a negative, tragic psychology that actively blocks your potential. You aren't thriving. You were just guarding a hoard.
You literally become a captive to your own possessions.
Yeah, the mere thought of possessing nothing, not even the physical reality of losing it, just contemplating a life without your safety net, is enough to send most people into a panic.
Oh, absolutely.
It scares them away from pursuing any higher spiritual dream. The void is terrifying. So, to maximize your potential, you have to force a biological override.
By burning the bridge.
By physically burning the bridge so that retreating into the comfort of the program is no longer an option.
Wow.
The survival instinct is then hijacked, right?
Right.
Not to maintain comfort, but to achieve transcendence.
Okay, let's bring this back to the listener for a second. You might be listening to this on your commute or, in your comfortable living room thinking, hey, I like my life, I worked hard for my safety net, and I'm proud of what I've built.
It's a natural reaction.
Totally natural.
Yeah.
But if we don't burn our bridges, if we choose to just stay in the maze and enjoy the comforts of the program, what exactly are we doing with our lives according to this text?
Well, the author delivers a pretty brutal reality check here regarding what we actually value. It's what he frames as the ultimate tragedy of accumulation.
Yeah, the text dissects the human struggle to possess. From the moment we are born, we are placed on this relentless treadmill. We are taught to accumulate knowledge, skills, a family, physical beauty.
We dedicate decades to acquiring real estate, securing money, building fame.
Maintaining that stable job.
Right.
And the ultimate punchline, Schriefering reminds us, is that at the moment of death, the balance sheet goes instantly to zero.
Zero. None of that accumulated wealth or status crosses over with you.
He points out that even the elaborate graves or monuments we build to signify our importance, well, they disappear relatively shortly in the grand scheme of time.
Yeah.
And he poses this piercing question, which I love. Where are your possessions then? Are you still qualified to control the deed to your house or the money in your bank account when you are gone?
Which directly ties into how the program manipulates our perception of time.
Oh, yeah. Time is just another illusion designed to keep you accumulating.
Exactly. If you ask a 20-year-old if life is long, they operate under the assumption that there is abundant time to squander on gathering things.
Because they feel like they have forever.
Right. But ask someone in their 60s or 70s, and the perspective shifts entirely. Suddenly, the decades spent building that safety net feel like a fleeting moment. It was just a dream.
The time you thought you possessed to enjoy your accumulations vanishes.
It's gone.
And to really drive this tragedy home, the author introduces an incredibly striking and honestly somewhat offensive animal analogy.
Yes, the pigs and donkeys.
Right. He talks about pigs and donkeys.
Yeah.
He asks if we've ever looked at a pig or a donkey and thought they had a wonderful life.
Right. From the pig's perspective, wallowing in the mud and getting fed slop every day might feel like absolute winning.
Yeah. The pig thinks, my pig life is wonderful. And a donkey with a warm stable thinks it has achieved the pinnacle of existence.
But from a human perspective, looking down at them, no matter how fat the pig is or how stubbornly the donkey defends its stall, their lives are fundamentally a tragedy.
Because they are completely blind to their own limitations.
Exactly. They're just livestock. So Feng argues that a human life lived purely to accumulate material wealth without ever burning bridges to reach a higher spiritual state is the exact same tragedy.
Is a profound matter of perspective.
Just as the pig lacks the cognitive architecture to comprehend the complexities of the human realm, the human who is entirely absorbed in the simulation lacks the spiritual architecture to comprehend the divine realm.
So we're just livestock in the program bragging about the quality of our slop.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
So what does this all mean? It's a harsh mirror to hold up to society. We're bustling around, stressing over interest rates, fighting our colleagues for middle management promotions, feeling so incredibly important in our day-to-day lives.
And from a higher spiritual perspective, we're just stubborn donkeys bragging about how nice our stable is.
Yeah.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the author's ultimate definition of tragedy is laid bare here. The real tragedy isn't suffering. It is living a brief 70 to 80 years, confined entirely to the material parameters of the program, just to arrive at your waning years filled with nostalgia for a past you can't keep.
Regret for the things you didn't do.
And a profound fear of the impending void. The text explicitly warns that if you live your entire life without knowing where your consciousness goes after death, you are living in vain.
You might be going through the motions of a very successful earthly life, but spiritually, you're living helplessly.
Your existence is devoid of ultimate meaning, because it culminates in the total annihilation of the self and every single thing it possessed.
A lifetime spent meticulously accumulating zeros.
Exactly.
So, if the default human experience is this donkey-like tragedy and the 36 mazes are actively keeping us trapped in the cycle, how on earth do we find the exit?
Well, the author doesn't just diagnose the disease and leave us to despair.
Right, he provides a roadmap, but it is a very specific, highly exclusive list of spiritual guides that you are permitted to follow.
Yeah. To avoid living in vain, the text asserts that one must strictly follow the teachings of three specific figures: Christ Jesus, Buddha Shakyamuni, and Celestial Lozi.
Which is a fascinating curation of guides.
It really is. These are presented as the rare guides who have successfully transcended the survival program and left instructions behind.
You have this synthesis of foundational figures from Christianity, Buddhism, and Taoism, and Feng zeroes in on one very specific, demanding teaching from Jesus to anchor his entire philosophy.
Right. He quotes the biblical warning.
Yeah. He who looks back while holding the plow in his hand is not worthy of entering the kingdom of God.
We need to explore the mechanics of that agriculture metaphor.
Definitely.
When you are plowing a field, if you turn your head to look behind you, the plow drifts, right? The furrow gets ruined and the work is spoiled.
It is the ultimate ancient equivalent of burning the boats.
Yes. If you commit to the work of escaping the simulation, you cannot even glance back at the comfortable life, the family, or the safety net you left behind. The slightest hesitation ruins the escape.
And the author's arguing that their teachings all fundamentally point to this same radical detachment. But, equally important to who the author says to follow is who the text explicitly warns against following.
Yeah, this is where he takes a direct shot at Confucius.
A huge shot.
The text strictly forbids following Confucian teachings, and the reasoning is deeply tied to the mechanics of the 36 mazes.
Yeah.
According to the author, Confucian thinking is the pinnacle of human thinking.
Right. It has not reached the divine level. It is entirely concerned with how to operate within the earthly realm.
And that makes perfect structural sense within the logic of Cui Feng's worldview. Think about what Confucianism historically focuses on: social harmony, strict family structures, filial piety, civic duty.
A proper way to conduct yourself in society.
Exactly.
But all of those things, society, family obligations, civic duty, those are the walls of the program.
Right.
It is the very simulation the author says we need to escape. So if you study Confucius, you are just studying the instruction manual for the simulation.
You are learning how to be a more efficient, more harmonious NPC.
Exactly. But it fundamentally anchors you to the game board.
Because if you follow human ways, you permanently remain human.
Yeah.
And the roadmap takes a much darker turn at the very end of this section.
Oh, it really does.
The author introduces a concept of active spiritual warfare, claiming that today's world is increasingly populated by demons, ghosts, spirits, and monsters.
Which is a massive shift in tone. We go from discussing agricultural metaphors and psychology to literal demons walking the earth.
Hmm.
How do these entities fit into the architecture of the 36 mazes?
Well, they are presented as active agents of the simulation, and they are currently on a massive recruitment drive to expand their territory.
A recruitment drive.
Yeah, the mechanics of how they trap you are important. They don't necessarily drag you to a fiery hell. They trap you by offering you exactly what the program conditions you to want.
They offer earthly power, material wealth, or specialized esoteric knowledge.
Right. And if you align with them or learn their ways, you become trapped in their specific, darker corners of the Bagua arrays. Choosing your spiritual guide is framed as a literal matter of eternal life or death.
Wow. Okay, but this raises an important question. Wait, no, I'm stealing your catchphrase. But seriously, how does a person actually practically unite the diverse teachings of Jesus, Buddha, and Lao Tzu while dodging these spiritual traps?
Well, this raises an important question.
Here it is.
Historically, theologically, these three frameworks have vastly different doctrines, right?
Yeah.
How do you synthesize them without just creating another intellectual puzzle?
Yeah, how do you do it?
The author's solution cuts through all theological debate with a single brutal requirement: action.
Yeah, action.
You cannot unite these teachings through academic study or by sitting in a comfortable room philosophizing about their similarities.
Because that is just more human thinking, generating more silken web to trap you.
Exactly. You unite them by physically and psychologically practicing them. And the only way to truly practice them is to execute the central premise of the text. Completely burn the bridges behind you, abandon your safety net, and walk into the void without ever looking back.
The physical act of severing all retreat is the universal master key that unlocks the core truth of all three guides.
Yes.
Wow. Well, this deep dive has been a journey through an incredibly uncompromising, intense worldview. The author, Shufeng, is challenging you to look closely at the architecture of your own life and ask some profoundly uncomfortable questions.
Very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Are you actually thriving, or are you just trapped by the soothing comfort of your savings account? Is the knowledge that you have food and shelter tomorrow the very thing preventing you from reaching your ultimate potential?
When you look at the achievements you're so proud of, your career, your house, your status, are they meaningful, or are they just the equivalent of a donkey boasting to the barn about a wonderful donkey life?
It forces a total reevaluation of our relationship with security. The text proposes that the truest danger we face isn't failure or poverty.
No, it is the illusion of safety within a temporary, meaningless program.
And as we wrap up, there is one final lingering thought that really builds on this whole concept of human thinking and the simulation.
Yeah, the author insists repeatedly that human thinking is the primary engine that traps us in the 36 mazes, right? We are instructed that we must completely abandon human logic, human planning, and human rationality to find the exit to the divine realm.
Right.
But consider what we have spent the last few minutes doing. Consider the very act of reading Shufeng's text, analyzing its metaphors, comparing it to Maslow's psychology, and logically outlining a roadmap for spiritual escape.
Yeah.
Isn't that analytical process itself just another highly evolved form of human thinking?
Oh, wow.
Is it possible that the attempt to comprehend our way out of the simulation, to draw a map to the exit using logic and analogy, is just the 37th maze?
Trying to think your way out of a trap built entirely by thinking. It leaves you wondering if the safety net we talked about at the beginning isn't just our material wealth or our physical comfort, but our reliance on our own minds. Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the world around you, look very closely at the nets you spend your life building, and we'll be back next time to explore another fascinating perspective.